I'm just gonna get right into the questions for this. Since you read the title, you probably know what's going on, and this video is going to end up being quite long because I got plenty of questions. What was the happiest you've ever been and why? This is kind of a tough one. I don't really know, honestly. I don't really keep track of that. What is your favorite character of yours? I would say Stello, since they're the character I use in all my videos, and I love their colors and how fun they are to draw. I do have a lot of characters though, and anything I consider a main is definitely one of my favorites, which again can be viewed in my Toy House page. I love characters with a lot of details and characters with a lot of sparkles. Are you more afraid of me being your paralysis demon or the destruction of Earth? I mean, do you get bored often? Definitely. I'm always extremely busy or extremely bored. I mean, I do always have map parts on my to-do list at all times, but sometimes I forget about them or the map post is inactive, and in that case I really just sit around doing nothing all day. I procrastinate a lot because of this. If I'm not in the mood to do something, I'll just put it off and feel like I have nothing to do and get super bored. I always kind of have something I'm working on though, whether it's a big YouTube video or just a Lego set or something. Here's a random one. What is your favorite blood type? I actually don't know my blood type or anything about blood types, so I wouldn't know. What's your favorite songwriter? I like punk rock and stuff. My favorite artist of all time would be Green Day. I also really like Aerosmith or Blink-182. I'm a strangely big AJR fan, and any 80s 90s rock is something I'd happily give a listen. I also really like Yankagor. What is your standing point on the BOTW series? And if you don't have it, would you ever get it? Do you mean like Zelda? Yeah, Zelda's pretty cool. What got you into art and animating? Any art and animation or other tips for beginners? What's your favorite color? Favorite animal? What's one thing you struggle with a lot in either creating or sharing art? Are you in any fandoms, and which ones? Ooh, this is a long one. I started doing art because of a website called Scratch. I remember when I was kind of young, I saw people animating these cats, which I guess you would now call furries, and I was like, yeah, that's cool, I want to do that. So I started with any art program or tablet, and I just used my mouse to draw on the editor provided by the website, and I kind of learned from there. As for animation tips, always find the ways to make your life easier and more efficient. I think the most common mistakes beginners make is assuming that more effort always means higher quality, which isn't always true. If you set your FPS too high for yourself or try to do things the hard way, you can end up giving yourself a hard time, and I'd recommend avoiding this whenever possible. My favorite color is either purple or red, or any of Stella's colors. My favorite animal is a skunk, and one thing I struggle with when sharing art is getting overwhelmed by small things, like a view count that's too high or too low, or a semi-rude comment or something. Honestly, I just really get upset too easily, and I'm kind of into warrior cats. I've read it for a long time. I have trouble keeping up with the new ones, but I definitely say I'm in that fandom. I also really like Wings of Fire and some of the other fantasy books y'all might not know, like the Sword of Truth series and stuff. What's your YouTube channel? I mean, do you have or are planning backstory animations? If you mean OC backstories, not really. My OC stories are always really complicated and long, and I could literally write a novel out of it. And honestly, I need more talent to animate those things. What is your favorite emoji? I don't know. Maybe I like the knife. Who is your best friend? I don't really know. I have a lot of friends, and at the same time I have no friends, so I can't really say. I also feel like a ton of people would get really offended if I answered, no matter what I said. How long have you been doing YouTube? I started YouTube one day before my 13th birthday on April 9th, 2020. I was thinking I would need a day to lay out my channel and plan, and I was also really excited, so I just rushed to do it. How long have you been drawing? This is a tough question. Normally I'd say about a year, because last year I started getting really into art and referencing and stuff. Before that I was just messing around like any kid would, and I never really talked to any artist friends or used the internet or references. Who's your favorite YouTuber? Alexa, who's your favorite YouTuber?
I personally believe that Qwizz is the best YouTuber, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you really should.
Am I your friend? Sure, this question makes me kind of uncomfortable, to be honest, because I'd prefer if you didn't have to ask me, but generally friends with everyone, and I love making new ones, and if anything, I'm way too quick to make friends, but most likely if you're watching this, you're a pretty nice person, and I'd love to be your friend. How'd you pick the name Qwizz/Quizzical? If some of you don't know, my channel was called Quizzical before it was called Qwizz. I just generally like the word Quizzical a lot, but I thought I'd change the U to a W because I wanted to be unique and cool. I also really liked drawing that expression, and it was an inside joke with one of my older friends that I always do quizzical faces. I shortened it to Qwizz because surprisingly there isn't any other big channel with that name, and I thought it was more catchy and easy to remember. What's your social security number? I'll trade it for yours if you want. Do you like world building? I don't know if I sound dumb, but I actually don't know what that means. It sounds pretty cool though. Are your art trades open? Kind of. I'd prefer if you have some sort of art background or kind of drew a little bit. I won't accept everyone, and I prefer if you're an inspiration or have talked to you once or twice, but I do really like doing art trades. What's your favorite movie? I'm not really a TV person, to be honest. My favorite show is definitely The Simpsons though. What genre of music is your favorite? Definitely good old-fashioned rock like Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Aerosmith, and stuff like that. I'm a really big punk rock fan too. My favorite band is Green Day, and I really like pop punks too, like Blink-182 and Good Charlotte and stuff. I just like a lot of very strange, obscure, random genres. When's your birthday? April 10th. How do I get talent? Keep practicing, keep learning, keep referencing, keep improving, and keep discovering yourself and trying new things so you can see what you have a knack for and work towards that. Why don't you stream more often? Streaming takes a lot of energy from me, and it's hard for me to find time to do it. I can't really stream during the day because, school, and on weekends I try to get videos done and out, so I don't like to stream during the day, and that means I usually stream at night, and sometimes I get really tired after a long day and I just want to sleep. Also, I have to remain fun and positive for several hours, which is kind of difficult if I'm gonna be honest. Can you draw what you look like IRL? Not really, since I can't draw humans, but I have black hair, brown eyes, emo edgy bangs, a leather jacket, and I'm always wearing skinny jeans and some rock t-shirt. What do you plan to animate in the future, like animation memes or something? Honestly, I don't know. I usually just come up with stuff on the spot. I want to do more animation memes though. I'm just looking for motivation, to be honest. I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to animation, and if the liner isn't perfect, if everything isn't shaded, etc., I'll just delete it, so it makes it really difficult to get things done. Do you know when your Q&A will be done? Even though it will be done by the time you answer this. When I hit 400, which I must have if you're watching this. Do you have a pet? If you do, describe them. I do. I have 2 cats and a tortoise. One of my cats is named Allie, she's a black cat, and one is named Tom. He's white and has like patches of brown and black. And my tortoise is named Stalin because she's a Russian tortoise. I swear I'm not a psychopath. And she's, a tortoise. There's really no description for her. When did you start animating? Who's your biggest inspo? Would you like a baguette? I started last year. My biggest inspiration varies, but I really like Stelco, Type, and honestly my still frame artist is so cool. You really need to sub to them. They're a huge inspo. And yeah, please, bread is cool. Have you ever read Optimus Fowl? Have you eaten something with edible gold in it? And what is your favorite food? I haven't actually. I haven't read that book. And I think there was a little edible gold leaf at a fancy restaurant I went to, and I don't remember if it was actually edible. I just remember being told it was edible, seeing it was golden, eating it, and it tasted like nothing. And I don't really eat or drink anything except Coke, to be honest. If you could live anywhere, where would it be? What's your biggest fear? What is your favorite family vacation? What would you change about yourself if you could? What really makes you angry? What motivates you to work hard? I would live in Boston because it's just so cool. I've been there a couple times and I really like it. It's such a pretty city, and it's literally NYC without being an absolute garbage can. And I'm super claustrophobic to the point where if I look at my phone under my blanket, I'll panic and furiously try to escape because I'm just an idiot. I'm not necessarily afraid of water, but I don't like being in it and I don't like how it feels. Oh, and public bathrooms are the worst, and so I'm a germaphobe. We went to Universal Studios together once and I really enjoyed it because I'm a huge Harry Potter fan and I've always been one, and I'm also kind of a big Simpsons fan. If I could change anything about myself, it would be like literally everything, if I'm gonna be honest. I wish I could just be a more likable person because in real life people tend to avoid me a lot, and it often leads to me feeling that there's something wrong with me, and I definitely want to change that. I really hate posers of any shape or form, mainly kids who say that they're depressed for attention, so say that they have a disorder or mental health issue without getting it diagnosed, or professionally or belittle your problems. These people are the worst. And generally, I don't work very hard, but if I'm really into something, I will. If I see a point to it, I'll do it. What's your favorite thing to eat that is healthy and includes the color green? Qwizz. If you're a Harry Potter fan, what is your house? Your Patronus? What's the best book you've read in the last 6 months? And what did you adore about it? I am a Harry Potter fan. I'd say my house is Slytherin, and my Patronus would probably be a skunk or a rabbit. Also, I don't know, I've read hundreds of books in the last 6 months, literally. When you started Scratch, what was your inspiration to start doing things you do today? Red True Blue. I really liked their art and how quickly they improved, and I'm really happy that we're friends now. Have you ever said your real name before? If so, when? No, I actually haven't, because I've already mentioned the country I live in, and my name is kind of unique, and it might be easy to find me, and I'd prefer to keep that a secret. Who's your favorite warrior cat? Ravenpaw. I always thought he was a cute little anxious bean. Do you prefer donuts or bagels? What got you started with art and animation? Bagels, definitely, 100%, and I've already answered the second one. What's your favorite color, and do you prefer traditional or digital art? My favorite colors are red and purple, and any of Stella's colors, and I like digital simply because I just do it more, honestly. What are your favorite shows, movies, etc.? I like The Simpsons a lot, and generally any funny animated show. I also kind of grew up with Harry Potter on at all times, to the point where if you play the movie, I don't even have to look at it to list off all the lines, so I'd say this is definitely a classic for me. What's your favorite anime? Oh, that's a tough one. I'm not really huge on anime, I just read it sometimes. I definitely say that I know the classics, like Death Note would be my favorite. It's just simple, but it's cool. Do you like cake? Okay, real question, what's your favorite Pokemon? Yeah, of course. I just don't really like frosting, to be honest, though. And I love Gengar, he's such a child. How did you design your profile picture? This question was asked on Scratch. My Scratch profile picture was made by Pax. I'll link them in the description if you want to check them out. My current YouTube profile picture was made by Ginger Blossom. What do you keep in mind when you're drawing and animating? What is your favorite book and what is your favorite song? I try to keep in mind that I shouldn't be impatient. Sometimes I cut back on the amount of frames that I use because I think to myself, I don't really want to color these later, so it can reduce the quality of the animation. And when I'm drawing, I try to keep in mind that less is more and I shouldn't overdo the shading, and sometimes things look better completely unshaded. And I don't know my favorite book. I like a lot of books. And the same thing with my favorite song. It changes like every 4 hours. Thank you for watching if you made it all the way to the end, and thank you for everyone who left questions. It was really fun answering all of them. If you like this video or you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. It's free and it really supports me, and you can always unsubscribe if you don't like my future content, so there's no reason not to. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.